Welcome back to Love You Bro podcast. We've been a little hiatus for a couple weeks, man. We did a little bit of, I did a little bit of traveling for my birthday and stuff. So it was kind of nice to get out of town a little bit, bro. Hey, we'd like to thank our sponsors that allow us to do our episodes week in and week out. And first of all, we want to thank Nimble Brewing at 1735 Oak Street. They switch out their sour beers. That's kind of what they're known for down here. Great staff. Fun people, and
shout out Nimble.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you to Nimble for allowing us to have such a cool place to shoot our episodes. And then our other sponsor we'd like to thank, we want to thank Proactive Solutions. Proactive Solutions has been delivering infrastructure solutions and IT design and consultation services to clients ranging from startups to Fortune 100 companies for the last 27 years. They are proud to be a Kansas City owned and top woman-owned business, offering custom solutions and personalized support. You can trust Proactive Solutions with your technology needs. If your company needs IT solutions, reach out to Proactive Solutions at www.proactivesolutions.com. So thank you to Proactive Solutions for being one of our sponsors.
1,000. Thank you so much.
I actually got to play golf at a place called Quivira Los Cabos, one of the top 100 golf courses in the world. And anybody who's ever golfed with me before.
Did they make you stop like 3 holes in?
No, but whoever's played golf with me before knows that I am not a good golfer. So this was just a birthday gift from my nephew. He's been playing out there, so he invited me to play with him. So it's definitely not a course you're going to go out there and try to figure your game out on.
Yeah, no way.
But super fun, super cool. Like just some of the holes they had. They had one of the holes 6 and 7. They're off the side of a cliff. There's about a 40-mile-an-hour wind. And believe it or not, I used one ball, and I made it through 6 and 7, and I used my cheapest ball in the bag. It was my Top Flight that made it through those 2 holes, which was hilarious because the group of guys we were playing with were just laughing because they've seen me shoot some horrible shots during the day. But it was fun. So we did that. Just trying to catch up a little bit here, get back on schedule. Little dog days of summer. We're going to talk some Royals, some All-Star, and Chiefs will be going to training camp here in a few weeks. So we're just excited to be back on here, guys. We're going to move our location around a little bit, but we want to thank our guys over at Nimble.
Absolutely, man.
For letting us shoot our show here and shoot our episodes. But let's get into a little bit of the All-Star news, bro, for the Royals.
So today, which I think is really cool, is Bobby Witt agreed to be in the Homerun Derby, which is awesome. And obviously he's going back home to Texas and Arlington, which will be cool to see. And, it kind of gives the Royals because they've not been very good lately.
Right.
And fans are kind of pissed. And it's a really weird time for them because if you're the me part, they've kind of hung on as long as they can. But I think with Boston kind of rolling, Houston kind of coming, both those teams having more expendable cash than we do.
Right.
If you're the me part, I'm selling. Right. And I'm selling, you can get a haul for Lugo. You can get a haul because you're not going to win with those guys when they're close to winning. So I think you just replenish your farm system if it's me. And you can get right now, Singer. Look what Singer's done. Singer's been lights out. Yeah, my Singer's under a contract for 2 more years, but that's a guy that you can get a haul for. And I think where they are right now, they're slipping. They're slipping.
Yeah. See for me though, bro. Like thinking about that, I don't need to get a haul of guys in that we're going to go rebuild our team again, and then we're another 4, 5, 6 years out from doing something. I mean, Witt's not going to stick around.
Well, he just signed a huge deal, though.
I know, but he's not going to want to stick around if you go start dealing off pieces, and then we get 2 or 3 guys for Lugo, we get 2 or 3 guys for Singer and stuff like that. I don't know. I know what you're saying because we've talked about it before, though, bro. We don't have the corner outfielders. We don't have the superstars. We don't have the sticks. Renfroe went down in a bad time when we really needed to kind of get on a roll, and we were on a roll there for a while. But, I mean, I don't know if you just go sell and get rid of all those pieces out, man.
Well, right now in their system, they have some guys, but there's not a ton of guys. Right now they said Caden Wallace, the third baseman that they drafted, I think it was last year. Supposedly he's a stud. But it's hard to know what you have in the farm system till they get up to the big leagues and start doing it. The kid that we got from Atlanta was supposed to that. He's a great AAA guy, but he can't make that next transition. So right now, and I'll tell you the kid that I wasn't huge on was the center fielder. What's his name? I should know this.
Who? I can't think right now. I can't.
The center field. I mean, Isabel.
Isabel.
He's really been hitting the ball,
Right.
and obviously plays phenomenal defensively. The scary part is Massey, because this back injury with whatever that is, the back injury, they're being super cautious. They're not even having him bend over to take ground balls during the inning. He just kind of stays upright. But what Massey does, he protects Salvi in that 5-hole, and he extends the batting lineup
from that left side.
And so through Salvi, Witt at short, Massey at second, Isabel, you have one of the best up the middle, which traditionally you don't get. You don't get short second hitting, and Massey can hit home runs.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Massey brings that value as a DH, because he don't have enough pop in him.
Of course.
But as a second baseman,
he's got a little pop in,
but not for DH.
And Isbell can go get it in the outfield.
He will go get it.
Defensively, that guy can go get the
but
ball.
he's hitting. But for me, I think it's right now when you look at other farm systems within the Central, they're further along right now because we've moved a lot of guys up. So I think right now, if you can go get guys, because right now it would be, to me, sad and suck if you get to the end of the season, you're not in the wild card. Once again, this next week, if you can gain some momentum and you have Boston. You have Boston that they're kind of ahead of us. I think a game and a half or 2 games in that last wild card spot. You have to go try to get 2 or 3 from them, and see where you are at the All-Star break. But if it doesn't look like it, make wise moves and go get guys for the longevity of what it's going to be. Because this year, if you don't make it and you hang on to those guys, you get nothing for them. I don't know. But back to the All-Star game, which is cool. They, and right now, what is really cool, and MLB right now, I think there's 27 kids that are 25 years or younger that are in the All-Star game.
That's cool.
That's really MLB cool. Has an awesome time right now to market. It's not someone's swan song on their way out the door that they're showcasing this and that. It's all young kids,
right?
Young kids,
right.
And they've got to showcase and market. And the MLB's done some really cool stuff recently. Like when they did the game from like the Negro League Stadium and they did all that. You could watch the game in black and white. So cool.
Yeah.
So the MLB has the capabilities of doing it, which I think is really, really cool. But the next thing is to showcase, and like the Pirates to me and Skeens from LSU is filthy.
Yeah.
They wasted 8 starts on him in the minor leagues when he could have came in last year and started. But that kid is filthy. Yeah, and he's gonna play in the All-Star game. Right. So right now, to me, when he's pitching, I'll kind of look I'm like, I gotta watch highlights because he's blowing gas. No one throws like he does as hard as he does. And he is just that guy. He is and he has that capabilities. So if you're ESPN, if you're MLB, showcase that guy. Put a game on Sunday night. I'd rather watch that dude deal on Sunday night than Cardinals, Cubs. And I'm a Cubbies guy. I love the Cubs. But 2 teams, I'd rather see him. So kind of fluctuate that and, like move that around. But the Pirates are one of those teams that if you look at, I think they're 8 back or 7 back, and it's kind of boggled up. But if they find a way to get in the wild card with that rotation, they could win a 3-game series, 5-game series. And no one wants to defeat Skeens. No. And one of my favorite things in the last month was Skeens was facing Ohtani, and Ohtani is the best player on the planet.
Yep. Hands down.
He put one at 101 up on the corner that 99.9% of guys do not have that. It's whiff. Go to that guy. And he hit one oppo, and you just watch Skeens just laugh. And he wasn't being a smart ass. He wasn't being a cocksucker. He was just like, oh my God, this guy is so good.
Yeah, it was just a respect thing, man, because nobody goes up and gets that. At that mile an hour, they don't go up and get that ball, that high ball, that high rise.
Like I said, it'll be fun, but it'll be, like I said, it'll be cool to see, it kind of sucks that Witt is not a starter, but Gunnar Henderson, he's got 27 home runs. He's a dog in Baltimore. In Baltimore right now, the Yankees are like spiraling. And Baltimore just keeps winning, but they got a ton of young kids and they've drafted really, really well.
Of course.
So like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But for me, I'd rather go get guys even if they're high AA guys that you're bringing up through your system, because right now we don't have enough guys that are going to win with Witt, are going to win with Reagan's. Like Reagan's is untouchable, but Waka and Lugo and, nobody will touch Salvi because Salvi would, it would come with too much of a price tag. But those guys, if you could bring in and replenish a farm system with the kids you have up right now, that's the way I'd go. But
it's just disappointing because you go and you look at, their series against the Marlins. You go look at their series, this past weekend, even with the Rockies. Like some of those teams, you just think they're going to go take at least 2 or 3 in both those things. Then they go and they lose a couple games and they steal one. It's like, but I guess to me, that's the most disappointing part because I felt like back in 14 and 15, well, not 15 so much as 14, but I just felt like they competed more. And like right now, they play against a better competition. They play better against a better competition. Then they go play a team that's, 20 games under 500 and they win 1 of 3. And I'm like, guys, come on. Those are, remember we were talking to when we had Brian McCray here and B-Mac said, you don't go and make your money against, the guys like Clemens and the guys like Randy Johnson. He goes, those are the nights I'd be out. I'd stay out till 3 in the morning because you're not supposed to go 2 for 3 against those guys. But against the guys you're supposed to, I'm getting to the stadium early. I'm going to bed early, getting to the stadium early. Those are the guys you're making your money. Those are the guys I want to go 3 for 3, 2 for 3 against. And I feel like the Royals have had their opportunities to go take 2 of 3 or to go sweep a series, and they just haven't gone and done that.
No.
And that's kind of put them where they're at today. I don't know. They're at one point, they were 15 games over 500?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they were, I mean, now you're kind of, to me, when I open up the page, like I'm looking at the wild card and where we are in the wild card as opposed to, because I don't know if we'll catch a Guardians. But a move that was weird to me is when they had CJ Alexander called up and they moved Mikel to second. And obviously it was the Massey thing. They moved Massey to DH because they want him playing. But he cost them a game. And I think it was the Marlins. I don't know 100%. But he made a beautiful stop at second. But he had a throwing error, but he's not used to throwing that.
That's so right. Yeah.
And it was wide, and it brought Pasquantino off the base, and it cost us a game. Right. So those are little things like that. I'm like, why are you bringing this guy up? When you have a guy like Lofton that can play second, or other guys that can play second, or Hampson that can play second, keep Mikel where he is, and they did that, cost him a game. And you can't afford to do that and the situational hitting has not been as good. Right now, essentially, all the heavy lifting is coming from Witt, Pasquantino, and
Salvi.
Yeah, and Salvi.
Yeah.
There you go. Like and they're getting nothing from anyone else. I mean, Isabel St. Louis, but they need more help from that. Starting rotation's been filthy, and they deserve 2 guys in. And if you would have told me though, in most fans at the beginning of the year, you'll have 4 guys in the All-Star. I'm like, yeah, where are you getting those guys from? Like, I get it, like Witt, but where are you getting, and maybe Salvi, but where are you getting the other 2?
When was the last time we had more than one dude in the All-Star? You know how they have to have, every team's got to have one guy in there? God. And every year it was like, Salvi, because there was the one dude.
We had some busters in there, dude. We had, back in the day, we had some busters, Jose Rosado.
I know, but I mean, the Salvi, like for a long time, it says, every year it's like, okay, the Royals have to get one dude. It's like, who else are you going to take besides Salvi?
No.
So seeing them have 4 this year and what those pitchers have done up front, it's just disappointing we couldn't capitalize on all that good pitching we've gotten from Lugo, Waka,
after we took
Reagan's.
After we took 3 or 4 from Cleveland?
Yes.
And it was like, okay, man. And if they just win those games at the opening night against Colorado, that dude was fucking busted, dude. He was 1 of 7 with like an 8 ERA, and they couldn't. They lost. Like in the 6th, it was 1, 2 to whatever it was. I mean, they couldn't get but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. And, I know obviously, Piccolo's done a great job thus far. And, the Reagan's deal, that's a huge deal.
Huge deal,
they gave
man.
a Rollis for him.
Yeah,
and
huge deal.
Obviously the Rangers didn't know what he was going to be, and he had some injury history. But once again, it kind of goes down moving forward. Do you shut these guys down? Because he's not pitched as much as he has. Lugo's not pitches, as many innings as. If you back these guys off, and
I would before I get rid of them, I would back. I'd back them off before I would get rid of them. That's just my. That's my.
I don't know, and I should be more informed of that as far as contracts are concerned and what that looks like. Yeah, what it looks like. But before making those decisions. But I don't think right now, and Boston continues to win. And once again, Boston, they just smacked the Yankees.
They did, man. I saw that.
I mean, they smacked the Yankees. But Houston's starting to get together, and their pitching staff starting to get healthy.
I mean, you got veterans over there in Houston. They know how to win.
Those squads have more money to spend at the All-Star break and more stuff at the trade deadline than we do. So it's like, be smart, and ride with what you have, but don't, cut your nose off, spite your face, and go and end the season not knowing like, hey, we won 35 more games than we did last year, but you're still out of the playoffs, and these guys walk on contracts.
That's a huge jump, though, man. As many games I think they'll end up winning, maybe hopefully there towards the end of the year. But the next week or the next 2 weeks don't go very well. We kind of go through the dog days of summer in the middle of July. You're going to have Summer Olympics coming up, but more importantly, Chiefs report next week, man. I got guys coming back. I talked to one of our awesome guests that came on, Charles Menahue. Menahue will be gearing up. Those guys report. I know the staff and all those people, they get there on the 12th. The quarterbacks, rookies, and injured guys coming off injuries will be at camp on the 16th, and then the veterans the 19th. So we're just, 7, 9, 10 days away from those guys reporting. What do you think? Let me ask you a question. You and I, listen, we've been around sports our whole lives, man. We love talking this stuff. It's why we started this whole podcast. Does it concern you at all? Does it concern you at all to see Mahomes and Kelsey and the whirlwind tour that these guys? I don't want to say tour because Mahomes, I know it's a family vacation. Those guys are out, and I see Kelsey's out doing all this stuff with Taylor and all that. Does it concern you at all from a fan standpoint of, are our guys going to be ready? Do they have it? Will they have the juice when it comes time to have the juice? Will this team ready to go for a 3? What's your gut reaction to it?
So that, as far as that, 1587, zero concerns me. That doesn't concern me. I think they know when to dial it in. That doesn't. The concern to me is they're going to training camp right now, and you can break down the roster, and they have a rookie left tackle in the King, and they have Wanye last year who played 3 or 4 games started, but struggled when he started to play more time. People started to get more film on him. That scares the fuck out of me. That scares me too. That's Patrick's blind side, and that they are playing with fire as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think they go get Bacateri?
Why would you not?
He's still out there. He's still available. He's still available.
Absolutely. To me, once again, why would you not go and sign him and give him a decent, 1-year deal? If he gets hurt, it's, canceled out, whatever it is. But just to provide some veteran leadership and some guy that's played a lot of meaningful games in Green Bay. Why not? Everyone went and did it. The Jets went and did it. They got, Tyron, Smith from Dallas. So that is what scares me beyond anything in camp.
But let me tell you what, I understand your point right there and talking about that scares you. But here's why I'm not scared about that, because I never think that Veach is just sitting in his office, not doing anything. Veach is looking at this roster every day on where do we get better? And I think right now the big glaring piece that sticks out like a highlighter is that left tackle position. And I don't think he's done. I don't think Veach is done. But making his moves on what he does.
And maybe he's not. But what are you waiting for? That's my thing. And to think about if he is confident and these are his 2 tackles at left tackle. To me, that's scary. To me, that'll keep me up at night going into the season, knowing the guys that play on that side, just in the division, and who he has to go up against, those guys. I don't know. That scares me. That scares me more than people say we don't have running back depth. And I'm surprised that we didn't get another guy.
I still think Bacateri is on the table. I still think that's
he
on the
is.
Table.
Absolutely. Until he signs with someone else, he is.
I still think that's on. I still think.
But
that's
as far
on the
as as far as 1587, I think they'll be ready to go, and they know they need to. You look no further than what happened in Foxborough. Tom Brady did all of this stuff before Mahomes. Gronk was before that, and they always reeled it back in and got ready to go. It was time to go. It was time to, all that stuff was fun. They were doing, those, they were doing all they were doing and running around with, Victoria's Secret models and partying on Kraft's yacht. But when it was time, and they went to work. So I'm not worried. Those guys will be ready to go. And there's just some pieces that I'm worried about. And there's some guys out there that I look at every single day. If they've signed, Stephon Gilmore is a guy right now that I think would be a great fit here. He had a good year in Dallas last year. To bring a veteran corner to that room that has done. I was reading today, and they broke down what Snead. You and I talked about Snead, and that he followed the number one receiver
every game, everywhere.
And no one caught a touchdown. No one.
Every game.
So that's scary to me. I think Joshua Williams has that. I mean, there's a lot of people predicting him to be the breakout.
Yeah.
Player on the defense.
I like their secondary. They're young. I think McDuffie's ready to take that role on. I'm not saying he's luxurious, but I think McDuffie's going to take that leadership role on. And I like those younger kids coming up. Joshua Williams is going to be good.
Yes,
but I wouldn't mind adding a veteran. But I think that young team. Listen, to me, it all boils down to when you go back and look at these Super Bowl champion teams and you see what we've done the last 3 out of the last 5 years. You can look at some of the coaches we have on the staff. We're sitting there talking with, when we're talking to Mitch, and Mitch is talking about, the Chiefs offensive line, Coach Heck being one of the best offensive line coaches in the business. You go talk to DBs around the league, and a lot of guys will say, Coach Merritt's one of the top defensive back coaches in the league. That starts inside that stadium, man. It starts with what Reed's put together and who he wants teaching those young kids. So I think a lot of that, we didn't have those coaches back in the day, bro. We didn't have those guys.
But who the staff was when we got absolutely, and when Veach went and made those and signed and gave up draft picks for Orlando Brown was when Tampa exposed their tackles and Mahomes was running for his life. To me, that's a position that you have to take care of more than any at the left tackle position.
Right.
And obviously they're there day to day. They know what's going on, but they were there as the same year that Tampa. That's why they changed their whole.
Yeah, but we had injuries. That Super Bowl, both our guys were injured. Fisher was gone, and so was Schwartz. They were both out that Tampa Bay game. Those weren't our starters. If Fisher and Schwartz are there, that's a different game.
Maybe.
We just played him 4 or 5 weeks earlier in Tampa Bay and just boat raced him.
Yeah.
Tyreek had 3 touches and 200 yards in the first half.
Well, but we didn't have time.
Fisher and Schwartz being out to me killed us. I'm not saying we would have won that game for sure, but I would much rather like our chances with Fisher at tackle and with Mitch Schwartz at tackle.
I think they got money to do some things. And to me, once again, like Snead and who he was, and what I don't want them to do, I don't want them to move McDuffie outside. You don't take once again, last year was a little different because Juwan had some struggles early on, but once he settled in, did a nice job at right tackle.
Right.
I saw Grunhard this week and was talking to him about it, but he settled in, did a nice job. The last thing I wanted to see them do was switch him to left tackle, was in play before they signed Donovan Smith. I do not need McDuffie at his size going out wide. He needs to play in the slot. So they need to have, and if it's not, if Joshua struggles early on because he's a guy that can play with no pressure, just kind of go up there and do your thing because Snead's out there, and he's excelled. And I'm not saying he's not, because a lot of people are projecting him to be the projected player to be, have a bigger role and excel in that bigger role. But signing a guy like Gilmore, who last year played in big games, not to say he won't get beat, but a veteran guy in that locker room, and a guy that you're not going to be super worried about that's out there that could get beat, but can play outside and play outside.
I still love the shirt they wear around the locker room that says, "In Spags we trust." Yeah. I trust Spags. I trust Coach Merritt. I love what they've got there going. Just in talking to some of the guys that we've even brought in here and just asking the biggest difference from last season to this season. And the guys we brought in here, we've talked to, they've talked about team speed. And they're like, we're faster on defense, we're faster on offense. Now, how that correlates to getting on the field and doing that stuff, we'll see when training camp starts. I know you and I will have some time to go up there, spend some time at camp.
And that's interesting to me to say he's faster, because Willie Gay was like,
I'm just telling you, the word in camp right now, the stuff that we're hearing right now, stuff that I'm hearing from guys right now is we're faster on defense, faster on offense. Yeah. And that's just the way they put it. Yeah. And I think if that team plays faster on defense and faster on offense, let's see what that correlates to on the field. Because, like I said, losing Gay and losing Snead, you don't just replace those dudes or replace the productivity those guys
and
both
you have
had.
to. I mean, you can't sign everyone.
You can't sign everybody.
Offensively, I just read recently, and it's not. I mean, it's everywhere, but that they're talking about Rasheed getting 12 games. Like that's kind of the benchmark for what he's going to get.
There was a guy that came out that I read earlier today, the kid from the Steelers, that he signed with the Steelers, but he was with the Lions when it was a domestic violence thing, and he got slapped with 8 games. I'm just curious, though, like how that whole thing works. If the legal system hasn't played out yet, is the league going to go ahead and step in and say, okay, we're going to slap him with this? Because I don't think you can come back. I don't think you can go, we're going to slap him with 8 games now, or we're going to slap him with 12 games, and then the legal stuff comes out a year later or 6 months later, and you go, okay, we're going to slap him again. Because I don't think you can.
No. He's not going to get suspended twice. I think they're going to get, and unfortunately.
So do you think they'll suspend him this year before the legal stuff plays out?
I mean, they haven't done that. They have not done that. That's not been the reputation that we had the NFL plays out.
Right.
However, the tragic thing that happened with Henry Ruggs the year before and what that was, it might be something different. I don't know. Yeah. I know that it will be more game. People were saying the season,
right,
because of how serious it was, and obviously he's a good kid, man, right. Good family, good kid. Just, bad decisions, and the decisions you make at that age they're not the best decisions. But I think, unfortunately, the league's got to step in somewhere, and it may be. But it's like multiple reports, multiple insiders say that it's going to be 12, whether it's this year or next year. It's just a matter of time.
That's a lot. 12 games is a lot. I can see 8. Which that's kind of pushing it a lot. I can't see them suspending him for 12 games. I mean, they can. I mean, they could easily do that.
I mean,
and talking about Ruggs and the unfortunate stuff that happened with that. We want to just give a shout out to the young man with the Minnesota Vikings who lost his life in a car crash. I don't know the circumstances. They said there was a drunk driver that passed over a lane and hit his car. He was a Dodge Charger.
And put him into the. That's incredibly sad, man.
But Kyrie Jackson. So, here on this podcast, as much as we get to do and be around the sports and be around that sports world, makes me want to cry right now. And I don't even know the kid, but prayers out to Kyrie Jackson's family, to his family and to the Minnesota Vikings organization. We just want to send our, thoughts and prayers out, because anytime you see one of these young men lose their life over something, it's sad and it's tragic. So God bless the Vikings and his family and those guys out there. So, like I said, training camp coming up, man. There's so many fun things to watch. I know you and I are going to get a chance to go out there, see some practices, which we always love to do. I mean, bro, how many years have we been, even before like podcast days, and even before how many times we just loved just going out? I mean, we would go to practice after 2 days. We'd be out in the morning.
I'll take you back even further. When we would go and get fucking bomb pops in Liberty from the likes of Christian Okoye and Paul Palmer and those guys in Liberty.
Tim Collier.
That was a big deal to go to Liberty for us.
William Jewell.
Yeah, and we go out there. We go out there as kids, and we thought, our brother Bob. Once again, soul rest in peace. I miss you, brother. But he would come get us and take us out there, and that was the dopest day. And we go out a couple times. Yeah. But he would take us out there, and we would go out there. And back then, bro, there was 300 people out there?
Yeah.
At the most? At the most?
There were, you guys, and talking, like, when we would go out to Liberty, and our brother Bob, like I said, man, still rest in peace. Our brother Bob, we think about you every day. He would take us to practice in Liberty. And you guys, there wasn't where there were stands set up and there were people and security and all this stuff. We literally could be down by the sideline, watching these plays and watching stuff happen. We're here, and the cones are maybe about 5 feet in front of us, and you're watching.
You were if you were watching Coach Worley or Coach Lipsky doing fucking Oklahoma drill.
Yeah. We're watching 5 feet away, and it's there's no security. No. There's no
whistle. You can.
Yeah, we were little kids, and my older brother Bob, he knew some of the players back then, Tim Collier. Shout out to some of those guys, older guys that played here. And so Tim would call my brother Bobby and say, hey, come to practice tomorrow. So it'd be 110 degrees out there in August. And Tim would call us over, and the players are grabbing popsicles out of these coolers. And they'd give us the old bomb pops, man. Yeah. And we're eating popsicles on the sideline. And that's where our family started, you guys. Way back then, that was our love, developed our love for the Chiefs and for the sport and the game. And shout out to our pops, man, for doing the season tickets and us being able to be around
when I tell people about how, dad and brother Bob started, tailgating when there was probably 20 to 30 people tailgating. People like, you're full of shit. That's not what it was. And it's like,
I wish people could see the pics and stuff from back in the day.
it's great. But I look forward to talking about a thing I want to get involved with you about. The people are going crazy right now over NCAA football about to launch for PS5. It's got the internet broke. Like, I don't care who you are, NFL players.
That was my favorite game back in the day.
I know it was, dude. But people are going nuts.
That was my favorite game back in the day.
People are going nuts, and they took this 14-year hiatus.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into that because right now it is like the talk.
Do you remember back in the day though on the NCAA football? Because you could like put your own player. You could put your own player in there. So I'd go and put my first and last name and put me like being a running back or whatever.
Yes.
And play a full season with the team or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about that.
It's gonna be hilarious. I can't wait to see it.
We'll talk about some more guests coming up too.
All right, perfect.
All right. Welcome back to Love You Bro podcast. We're just going to try to catch up on some stuff coming up here in the dog days of summer, bro. We had one of our guests today. We had to reschedule that we're looking forward to getting on. We'll have him on sometime here in the upcoming weeks. And that's the left-hander that won the national championship game, Zander Sechrist, the left-hander from Tennessee. So he had to reschedule. He was going to come on tonight's episode. He's traveling. The MLB draft will come up next week. So it was funny. I told you last week when I was on vacation on Monday, I called him from Cabo. So I called him and I was like, hey, I'm going to play golf. Him and I are talking. And he goes, man, I'm just getting ready to go with, Kirby Connell. Kirby's, I guess, one of his best friends on the team. So those guys are going out golfing that day. But I think that Tennessee team will have several of those guys that'll get drafted in next week's draft.
They've said that at least 2 will be in the first round, at least 2, and 4 will be drafted for, guaranteed to be drafted.
I think Christian Moore's their big kid for that leadoff spot, had like 33 home runs in that leadoff spot, plays second base.
I saw some places that are some guys today that said he will they could go as high as 9 to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
And then, or to 15, I think it's with Boston, but he projects as a center fielder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they want to move to the outfield.
Yeah.
He's got speed, man. He's got speed.
Because he doesn't have a great arm. He's got an efficient arm, but not a great arm. But obviously he hit 33 bombs or whatever it is that the guy can hit and do. So yeah, Tennessee will be, I'm excited to get him on. I heard some really funny stories and funny takes about him that I can't wait to ask him about when he comes on, and literally the roller coaster of what his collegiate career was,
right,
and what he did from being a midweek starter to getting the ball on Sundays in the SEC.
No, I told you when I met his parents and talked to him, they were so stoked that Wednesday because, like I said, they're undefeated. They were undefeated. They're going against Florida State, and then Texas A&M was on the other side. And she said, Xander's on the hill. He's getting the start today, which it sounded like normally during their 3-game series of the SEC, he wasn't one of the guys getting, getting those starts. So for him to get that and beat Florida State, and then for them to hand the ball back to him in that national championship game, that game 3. And
his last 6 appearances, they were major victories and for them. So good Lord willing, when we can get him back on and we get him back on and reschedule, I can't wait to visit with him and ask him about his coach. Yeah, because his coach is a stud. He's an MU kid.
Oh, is he really the head coach?
He went to MU. Okay. He went to MU and is a recruiting, stud. He recruited Scherzer, Aaron Crow, who Royals fans are familiar with, Kyle Gibson. Okay. So he was an MU guy and kind of he started, I believe, in high school. Then he went to MU and then kind of worked his way around. But he was at Arkansas and he recruited guys at Arkansas. So hell of a recruiter. And a stud at.
I saw that the head coach of Texas A&M, because obviously they lost the World Series at Tennessee, and it was another one of those Roy Williams takes again when at the end of the season they're talking to the head coach of Texas A&M, and he was like, I'm here to coach the Aggies. I'm not going anywhere. Blah blah blah. And Texas came after him like a day or two later, offered the spot. He flip flops to go to UT, and now he's taking several of the pitchers from Texas A&M now with that transfer portal. Sure. They immediately asked for their release. Boom! Now they're on Texas' staff, so it'll be fun to see. I like Texas. I've always liked Texas baseball from back in Roger Clemens' day.
Augie Guerrero, man. What's his name?
Augie Guerrero. But Greg Swindell, Clemens, all those guys back in the day were so much fun to watch.
But that's a case in point of how this whole, the college is set up and at least Roy had contacts and cut his teeth in North Carolina under Dean. Yeah. So, I mean, that makes sense. But this guy just went for the bag and like, I'm going those facilities and everything that is. Yeah. But there was a great video I watched of Calipari and like talking about this and what it means. And Calipari, kind of underappreciated at Kentucky, underappreciated, and they didn't want to come off purse strings there at Kentucky, their purse straps, if you will, at Kentucky. And so he calls who he's super close with, what's his name at Houston? It was in Big 12. Sampson, because the AD at Arkansas he worked with previous at Houston, he's like, he's a great guy. He's an absolute stud. And Calipari's like, yeah, I'm just kind of worried about this. And he goes, what are you worried about? He goes, did you just say that? And he goes, right now, because Calipari's like, I'm still not completely, he was like, those kids can come over tomorrow. Yeah.
With the transfer portal.
They can come over tomorrow. And then Arkansas is going to be so fucking fun to watch in college basketball.
They got all that Tyson chicken money over there.
Woo Pig Suey back in the day, which I love those dudes. Corliss Williamson, Scotty Thurman, Alex Dillard. Corey Beck, they had a squad at Arkansas. So they're going to be back and they're going to be like, they're going to be back. And Calipari's a stud and he's a guy. But once again, just kind of talking with that money and what it was, but also getting underappreciated at Kentucky. And when you want to get into that, you start to have to, what college is right now, you've kind of got to like pay for guys, to be in that involvement. But once again, just talking about Zander, college baseball has gotten better because kids are staying longer and not going and sitting, they're staying longer. And it's making college baseball better. And college football, you're having guys, obviously it's kind of getting spread around. In college basketball, like, the guys are going and people will stay an extra year as opposed to leave their families and travel, and go play in Turkey, not that they still won't, but now it's a thing you can go play and get a lot of money staying in college. So college basketball of it will get better. I know there's people that don't like it because it's kind of an arms race, but pick your spot. But there's dudes like right now at Alabama and so those huge schools like that, just it affects Kansas in basketball, those huge guys who are 4 and 5 star recruits that are going to have to sit 2 years will go play at programs like Missouri, Kansas State, and Kansas.
You're talking football, right?
Football. But they'll go play there week 1, make money, and still be viable in the NFL and play in the NFL as opposed to sitting 2 or 3 years.
Right. I want to touch on something you just said a minute ago. That kind of just strikes me. Like, and I want to laugh at it because the way you said it is that Calipari was underappreciated at Kentucky. I mean, I like John Calipari, and I think he's one of the best recruiters of all time in college basketball.
Not only best recruiter, brother, that guy, if you're sitting there and your kid's getting recruited, there's not been a coach in college basketball that's put guys in the league that matter. From Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, John Wall, you go down that guy. So he essentially had a basketball academy. So he wasn't looking to win championships. He was looking to put guys.
He didn't win championships.
Exactly. But he was looking to put guys in the league. So there's no more loyalty to having guys like, I'm going to stay here to win a championship. It's about getting to the league. And that guy best prepared guys from Fox. I mean, that guy look at the guys he's put.
I know, but bro, I'm just telling you right now, I'm sorry. I'm going to disagree with you on something. You go put me in Kentucky and you give me those kids and tell me I can't win with them.
No, because they're there for 1 year.
Come on.
No, they're there for 1 year.
How do you not win with those guys?
Because they're going there for 1 year.
You got lottery picks there every year.
Yeah,
every year you got lottery picks.
Yeah, they're going there for 1 year. But that guy, Calipari know what he was doing. Know what he's doing. He was not trying to win championships, and that's why Kentucky stayed on him.
So he's not an X and O guy. You're just telling he's a good recruiter, but he's not an X and O guy.
He's an absolute X and O guy. But he just
how do you not win more national titles? He won one.
Right, because there's certain coaches that go after it,
right?
But we watch it in our backyard of guys that failed. That guy puts guys in the league that matter every single year. So if you're a parent and you're sitting there and he comes there, he's like, I've put this. And once again, you look at his resume, look at everyone in the league he's put in right now in the NBA that matter. And every roster has 2 or 3 from the Miami Heat to everyone. And,
so how is Hurley winning back-to-back titles at UConn with way less talent? How's he doing?
Well, I don't know if way less talent. I mean, he's only been, I don't know, how long has he been at UConn?
He's only been there a few years, but I'm just saying, how does he do it at UConn?
But he'll start putting guys in the league.
But he doesn't have the talent that Kentucky had, though.
But also, he turned down that LeBron, which is a whole different thing. I'm a Laker guy. No one wants to go play with LeBron. No one gets to associate with LeBron. But they paid him a lot of money. But Calipari, yes, he's and the guys, he will start to do that at Arkansas.
But he won't win a national title at Arkansas. That's just my take. I like Calipari. I know you're a huge Calipari guy, but I'm just telling you, he doesn't go win a national title at Arkansas.
But I don't know what winning a national title in college basketball means. It doesn't mean the same.
Go ask Bobby Hurley what it means, or Coach Hurley. Go ask Coach Hurley what it means to winning back-to-back national titles.
So you either have guys that are cut from that cloth that want to do that. So UConn's a place that you can go and that's what you're going to go and do. That's what you want to do. So you got to take your own path of what that is. So back in the day, you could do both. You could be a Carolina, you could be a Duke and win national championships and put guys in the NBA. That's no longer a thing.
Okay. So you're telling me right now you've either got to be a guy that you're gonna tell your team, hey, we want to go win a national title, or you're just telling kids, we're not worried about a national title. I'm just gonna get you ready for the league. Is that what you're telling me?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely. If you're going to go and showcase my talents, and you're going to go up and those guys who grow up playing AAU since they're 9 years old. So they play with all these kids, and they go to high school. They transfer to high school academies, IMG, all these big time academies. They want to go play with their homies in college for 1 year,
right? But
and then they get drafted in the NBA.
I think that's what we screwed up at. We screwed up on the AAU circuit, because you get to the AAU circuit, now you got kids 14, 15 years old that want shoe deals, and to me that's crazy, man. They've taken that fun out of it. You go watch an AAU game right now. Here recently, we had talked about it here at one of the arenas here in Kansas City. LeBron was here to see his son. Yeah. So LeBron was here to see his son. Carmelo was here. Tracy
and the fact that LeBron got Bronny drafted at 55 to the Lakers is horrible. But that's where it is.
That's crazy.
And I'm a Laker guy. So
guy. You like the Bronny pickup? You like that draft?
No, I do not. And I like the JJ pickup. But for me, being a Laker guy, I'm ready to part away with LeBron, AD, and start over. At some point in time, you have to do that. I tell him to take
LeBron and Bronny and go somewhere else, man.
And LeBron's he's one of the, if not top 3 players in the history of the NBA.
And I'm not saying he's not.
The fact that he is and the recent when they were like, hey, he has an option to get what's his name? He just went to the Mavericks. And I was like, this would be huge for the Lakers. And he turned down the deal. It was 4 years, $100 million to go to the Lakers. And Bronny tweeted, maybe it's me. And it's like, fuck yeah, it's you. No one wants to play with GM Bronny, owner Bronny, coach Bronny, and player Bronny. Or player LeBron.
It's terrible. I want to go back though. I don't want to get too far out. I know we kind of sidetracked just a little bit off.
We should. That's what we're talking about.
But we kind of sidetracked a little bit off of. I want to go back to. So you really think right now in college basketball, you got coaches that are in this lane here that want to win a national title. So let's we're huge KU guys. So you're telling me is Self a guy that he's getting guys ready for the league, or is Self a guy that he wants to go win a national title, or right now?
Coach Self he's the cut from that last cloth that can do both. And he has, I looked at the way he recruited this year and after what happened last year where people commit, and if they don't like when Coach Self says they're soft, they're like, I want to transfer. There was a fucking kid last year that didn't even get to
for the first week of boot camp. He left after boot camp, right?
And there's that's what's. But I think he hasn't done both. Right. And he's got the mix of getting like a Hunter Dickinson, and he's got a great recruiting class this year. And he gets portal guys that want to come and play that have played at smaller schools. Yeah. Played at smaller schools that want to showcase their talents on the bigger stage. He's one of the very last few that can do that, because the Flory kid will play in the NBA. Coach will get guys that play in the NBA. He'll get guys that will play. Flory will play in the NBA, and he'll be a guy that matters in the NBA. So, but there's not many of them. And I think that if you try to do both, you're not Coach Self, you're not Coach, K, you're not Coach Williams, you're not my guy from Villanova. You can't do that. No. You can't do that. So you got to pick your lane and say, hey, you know what? This is the way I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get essentially, but once again, if you're that person, and Calipari, I love Coach Cal. I love his style. I love his swag. But if you're Coach Cal and say, hey, you want You want to get ready for the league. Essentially, they're the Ignite of the G League. We're going to go and play. We may make a run, but we not. We guys make him a lot of mistakes. And he gets on those kids hard. Right. And they want to be coached hard.
Right.
It's not like he's soft on them like, hey, good job for good job for me. He coaches those kids up, but he gets them ready. So when they're done with that season, when they go do their workouts, they're ready. They've already been doing all of the workouts. They've already been going all through that stuff. He gets them ready and they go out and like I said, they play. And once again, you just look at what kids have gone in the NBA from Kentucky in the last 10, 15 years that Cal's been in charge. They're all guys that matter and they matter week in, week out.
There's nobody bigger than what Cal's done with his kids. To me, in my mind, you got that many lottery picks. He's lining a roster up. He's got 3 lottery picks. He's got 2 lottery picks. He's got 4 lottery picks. How are you not winning more games? How are you not making more of a push towards a national championship? So it's like, is it all about just getting dudes ready for the NBA? Because he's only won one out of all those years.
It obviously is, because we've had kids that come in here that have been 5-star recruits that the game's too big for them, and they're 5-star recruits, and they bounce the ball off their leg, and they just recently, and I don't want to name names, but you see it out there and like, thought you could play a little bigger than this, but the lights get bigger in Rupp. They get bigger at Allen Fieldhouse.
KU's had a few of those kids, but Kentucky's had just from what you see in the league. Kentucky's had a ton of them. When people talk about Self needs to win more titles, he needs to win more titles.
Coach, he will win, and he's won multiple now.
I think Coach will win 1 or 2 more before he's done. But Coach Hurley, I saw he just got a bag of cash. What did they give him? Was it 4 years for $50 million?
Yeah.
50 million.
Yeah.
And
his wife's from she's from Connecticut.
He just won back-to-back national titles.
But the thing about it is like. And once again, being a Laker guy, no one wants to come to LA. It used to be, there's some of those jobs right now in sports that used to be super sexy, super like the Cowboys. No one wanted to fucking go coach for the Cowboys and play for that organization. Right. Nobody does. Like nobody. I mean, Jerry Jones is like senile and nobody wants to go there anymore. Which once was the greatest job in football. Right. It was America's team. The Lakers, being a Laker guy, everyone wanted to go play for the Lakers. Now no one wants to go play for the Lakers. No one does. And like I said, I see it year after year, free agent after free agent. DeMarcus DeRozan, who's an LA, he's a Inglewood guy.
Right.
He doesn't want to go play for the Lakers. Like they're talking about him going to play for the Clippers or going to play for someone else. And like the Lakers need that.
Right.
But no one wants to go play, like I said, for GM, that if you take a bad shot, LeBron's looking at you. If you take he wants to have the fact that he finagled that organization to take Bronny, and nothing against Bronny. I'm sure Bronny will be, fine and he's whatever, but he averaged 4.5 a game last year at a busted ass USC squad that was terrible, and he should have done more than he did. But it's Bron. And then I loved the Redick hiring. I think JJ's got a beautiful basketball mind. Obviously comes from Coach K, very articulate, but I was like, he's not going to do that. He's not going to sign off on having to sign Bronny. And I thought they were going to get Bronny with the first, and I was like, please don't do that. But they got that kid from Tennessee who can, once again, I want to ask Zander from that boy can hoop.
That kid can play.
Yeah, and he can fill it up. So when they signed him, I'm like, that dude's a day one. Right. He can catch and shoot on the wing. Right. Like that dude helps your team immediately when the Lakers have to win now. But
he's a catch shooter
that can play day one, because he's not going to break you down off the dribble and create his own shot. But that guy you can put in your rotation day one on the wing. LeBron drive dish. He knocks down threes. That guy. Strokes it. But Bronny, I'm like, once again, it's just LeBron and who he is. But that whole college, like I said, the college situation and what it means now and what people are doing. I think that. I said, I'm excited to see Arkansas, because they'll get those kids in. And Arkansas is one of those schools that is college basketball is better when they're good. Right. And Kentucky got Pope. Kentucky kind of recruits itself. Right. And, it kind of recruits itself, and we'll see where it goes from there. And, And talking just about that NIL stuff, I want to hear, coming up here and the future as we start doing, more episodes and stuff, we will do an episode more based around the NIL. We want to bring some of our guys on from our new company that we're launching, be launching here soon, called Edge 3. It's a new platform with the guy I went to school with, who's our CEO. But Edge 3 is a really cool platform for kids. It'll help kids in NIL, but really a lot of kids, coming out of high school, being able to give them and their parents more information. So it'll go kind of hand in hand. So we'll bring Kenya, we'll bring Brian Jones on, talk about Edge 3 and NIL, because those guys have a great
Brian's been 18 years on CBS, SEC Network.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Brian will have some really good insight on NIL, what's going on that in the football world, basketball, as well as Kenyon. So we'll talk about some of that, what the NIL does. And then, bro, we got to do a show. We're going to have to do a show on the new Big 12 and the new Big 12 football season and the 16 teams in the conference and stuff. And what that's going to look like.
College basketball that conference.
So what we were talking just off air just here a few minutes ago. Tell me about the new 24 NCAA football,
because it hasn't been out forever. So right now, if you look, I mean, on Twitter, I don't care if you're in the like from Jamar Chase to, I mean, everyone's talking about it. It's like this huge launch where people are just, and you can build it like it. So with social media now and what everything it is, they're like breaking down how you can build these, like it's going to be crazy. And they're right now they're worried, and EA's gone on and say, hey, we're not going to let it crash the internet because so many people are like, once again, already hyped about it. It comes out next week. Yes.
But you can still go to a store like me, like old school guys. I don't like downloading stuff. You can go to a store and just buy the actual game, right?
Maybe in like September.
But next week it comes out online.
No. I'm just saying, like, but people are just it's going like it is going to be the most hyped game like in the history of like PlayStation.
So when was the last time NCAA football? When was the last time EA Sports had the college football?
I think it was 14.
Was it really?
If not longer. I think it was further than. I mean, it's been such. So and what they've said is they've done such a good job of like, because people are like, oh, it's just going to be Madden. So the stuff from like TikTok and stuff and Insta they've released, it's like completely different. So they're doing all of the, and this is such dork shit, but it's really big because everyone is talking about it. Mahomes is talking. So they're going to go like every college, that they will have their tradition, whether Death Valley, you're running down the hill between the hedges.
That's super cool, man.
Like all of it, like all of the stuff, like
cool.
and like down to the decals that you're getting the Tomahawks, you're getting the Buckeyes in Ohio State for big plays, and now you have real players. So, and they signed, and once again, as part of their deal, I think it's like they got $800, each player. That's
cool.
And then,
I like that.
And then a copy of the game, whatever. Right. But it's good to be in it. But like everyone is so stoked, and you have guys like Lamar going, "Oh my God, I wish it was this one," because everyone played college.
Everybody did. Do you remember back then when I would play? Because you could go and you could make your own player. Yeah. So I'd go in there and put my first and last name on a player. Yeah. I'd give me a little bit of the tan Mexican skin, the skin color on there. Yeah. And then I'd put myself as a running back or receiver. I'd play a full season. You'd be like, what are you playing with? I was like, I'd be the tailback. I can't wait
in the swamp or whatever it is. But now they're like, so they've done it down, bro, to like, when Virginia Tech, when they do the Inner Sandman. Yeah. So they show the tunnel and there's smoke and they show the whole whiteout Inner Sandman.
That's super cool.
And it's like, it'll be nuts and people are so stoked. There's a thing on 610 that they're going to do a huge tournament and they're inviting like 25 listeners to play.
That's super cool.
And so they're going to play it throughout the day, throughout the night of that. So it's funny, but it's just something that hadn't been out in a while in college football. And it's kind of like, launch, but
thinking about college football, shout out to our dude, Tony Johnson, man. Tony Johnson, younger brother, Larry Johnson, who played at Penn State. He reunited with his dad. He got the wide receiver coaching position at Ohio State this year. So,
oh yes, I saw that.
Man. So shout out to Tony, man.
And they're going to be
legit, man.
They're loaded.
They're going to be they're going to be legit. So his dad's assistant defensive coordinator, D-line coach there. So shout out to Tony and good luck to kind of see what he does.
Yeah, Tony, what up
over there at Ohio State, man?
We'll see you in Columbus soon, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll look forward to some of our guys. We're hoping to get McColl on before training camp. We're hoping to line him up on a Monday.
There may be a Cheetah around in Kansas City.
There might be a Cheetah. We're going to see when we get Cheetah on. But Cheetah has agreed to. I ran into Cheetah at the airport, and he said he would come on the podcast.
It might be a random Cheetah run for this motherfucker.
So now it's going to be just kind of when we can line the guys up.
Yeah, for sure.
We got some great people coming on that have said they'll come on our show. So we'll look forward to our guest and catching up to those guys.
Keep going, man.
For right now, bro, we'll just keep it going until next week, man. Love you, bro. Out.